And welcome back to another edition of the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey, and in today's tutorial we are working on a fabulous little baby dress. This is called the Little Sweetie dress, and I know firsthand that people are using this particular pattern in order to do christening gowns, and it is really simple. Now you'll notice in the instructions that the pattern looks really intimidating because there's a lot of instructions, but it's just a lot of words for something that's really quite simple. In today's tutorial I'm going to be using the James C. Brett marble. It's meant for baby and it's extremely soft, and you'll need, even for the 6-month size, one ball and just a smidgen of another, or you can use what's recommended in the pattern. You can do the Red Heart soft baby steps, or the other version that I did in this is the Red Heart gumdrop. Either way, all three are a particular winner in this case. So let's get started on this particular tutorial called the Little Sweetie dress by redheart.com. So we're looking at the pattern. It's got different sizes available, and you will notice that there is parentheses, and those indicate the size difference. So you have 6, 12, 18, and 24. So when you see parentheses just like this, 6 months, you have 12, 18, and 20. That's how it's separating here. And throughout this pattern, no matter where you see that, it's always in the same order. So you have 6, 12, 18, and 24. If I were you, and it would make it easier for yourself as well, if you're doing a different size other than the first, I would circle it. So I would, if you were doing maybe the 18-month version, circle the 58 and just keep going down throughout the instructions to pass it off. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going down through here, and then row number 2 for 6 and 12 months only. This is row number 3. So when you have other sizes, when you flip the sheets, you're thinking to yourself, okay, well wait a minute, there's 18 months and 24, but it says for size 6 and 12. When you go and look on the other side here but rows for sizes 18 and 24, here's row 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you can see that it significantly changes. So if you are doing this pattern, all of these instructions are not even for the 6 months. So you can see that when you're going through this, is that all these instructions are really for all the sizes, which makes this pattern look incredibly long, but it's not, only if you're doing the bigger sizes, I suppose. So let's begin, and let's grab your yarn at a size H, size 5mm crochet hook, and let's pull up your yarn and get started. So let's begin. It says I'm doing the 6-month version throughout this entire tutorial. So today it is chain 50. So just simply rock back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and go all the way to 50 if you're doing the 6-month sizes. For the rest of this tutorial, if you're doing other sizes, you can still follow along with me, but just change it in order to match it with the pattern. So go all the way to 50 if you're doing 6 months. So let's begin row number 1. It says 2 double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. This is the beginning chains, counts as a double crochet, so in actual fact there will be 3 into the first one. And then it says double crochet into the next chain, and then 2 into the next, and repeat that. What I'm going to recommend to you right now is to make a nice clean finish on the top of this dress, is that you're going to want to do this. So you're going to count back. So count back 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once you do that, turn the chain over, pinch this down, and go into the back just like so. So you'll always see a bump on the back of the chain. So you'll see the chain is like flat on the front side. If you go into the back, what this does is it turns the hook, or turns the chain upside down, and you end up with the most perfect finish at the top. And remember what it said. It said to 2 double crochets to the 4th. Okay, so that's what we have. And now the next chain is going to be by itself. So a double crochet like this, and so the next one is going to be 2. So the repeat pattern all the way across this is that there's going to be 1 double crochet by itself, and then the next chain is going to be 2 double crochets into the same one, and continue to repeat that all the way down. So continue that, and I'll meet you back up in a second, moving on to row number 2. So we're coming up all the way to the end, and the final one will have 2 double crochet in there, and you will find that when you turn this over, it is going to be the most beautiful finish you've ever seen on the other side of the edge. So there you go. So see how you can actually double crochet on both sides. So now you have a beautiful finish. And now that we've just done this, you will notice that this is forming a circle, which is the very top of the dress. So let's move along to row number 2 next, and let's turn our work just like so. So now that we've turned our work, we need to chain 3, and it says count as a first double crochet here and throughout, and double crochet into the first stitch, and this is an increase made, and then double crochet into the next 5 stitches, and then 2 double crochet into the next, and repeat all the way through. You can see that there's parentheses because it changes depending on how many chains that you did. So let's begin. We're going to be chaining 3, and it says to double crochet into the first. So normally we would go into this stitch here, but we're going to go right underneath, because it says an increase is made, just like so. So you have 2 wood appearing to go on the inside, and now it says to double crochet into the next 5. I should also say, if you fast forwarded the first chaining video part of this, the row number 1 is very slow going. Just take your time with it. It's just one of those, once you get it started, it's just being able to hold it into your hands and getting it a lot more speedy. So that's just a very honest and blunt tip for you today. So we've done 5 double crochets by itself. The next one is going to be 2, just like this. And what I want you to do is repeat that same pattern, so 5 double crochets in a row, and then the 6th one you'll put 2 in there. So do that, and we'll be back up to the end of the line. So now on the end of row number 2, and it says to DC into the next 4 stitches. So you're repeating the pattern that says DC into the next 4 stitches, and then double crochet into the last, and then that is the top of the turning chain. So it just happens to work out that's how many stitches you have left. So let's do our 4. So 1, and then 2, and then 3, and 4. And essentially now we have to make sure we get into that side chain, and that will be the top of the turning chain, just like so. And that will complete row number 2. So moving along to row number 3 in the size 6 pattern, it says to chain up 3. So let's begin. So 1, 2, and 3, and it says to double crochet into the first stitch. Don't move over to this stitch here. Go right underneath. It's almost like a V stitch. Well, it's almost like a shell. Or it's actually almost like putting 2 together. I will get it right. But what happens is that you need to put 2 into the same one that appears to be the same. So here we go, and it says to double crochet into the next 8. So let's begin to do that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then after you get 8 done, the next one is going to be 2 double crochets into the same one, and then repeat that. So the next 8 are going to be by themselves, and go all the way along. If you do not do this extra stitch here, what happens in the next row is that you'll start to notice that you're running out of stitches as you go. So you make sure that you do that. So carry on 8 single or double crochets in a row, and the 9th one will be a double, and carry on all the way to the end of the row, and we'll meet back up in just a moment. So you're at the end of row number 3, and then what's going to happen here is that you have the repeat pattern which ended here, and it says in the last 2 stitches there's going to be a double crochet. So it just happens to be working out, see how the double is there, that there is only 2 stitches left, and if that is happening to you, you know that you've done it right. So that will conclude off row number 3. So let's turn our work and begin row number 4 for the 6-month size pattern. To begin row number 4, it says chain 3 and double crochet into the first stitch, and then double crochet into the next 12 stitches, and then 2 double crochets into the next. So that whole double crochet into the first stitch is exactly what you just did in the last one. So we're going to chain up 3, and we're going to come immediately into the one that it's coming from. And what this is doing, it's putting 2 together, just like that. So now what we're going to do is the next 12 are going to be by themselves. So it's just double crochet into the next 12. So this is 2, this is 3, 4, 5, 6, we got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Just like so. So there is your 12. The next one is going to be 2 into the same one. And so just carry along that same pattern going all the way across. 12 double crochets in a row, and then the next one will be a double, just like you see. So let's just continue along, and I'll meet you up at the end of this row as we go. Coming up on to the end of row number 4, we have 2 more stitches left, and you look at the instructions, it says double crochet into the last 2 stitches. That's because the repeat pattern just finished and there is only 2 stitches left, so that means that I'm doing a fabulous job here, and hopefully that you are too at home. So let's turn our work now and move on to row number 5, and you can see that the yoke is really starting to turn out really nice. I'm loving the colors of these. It's so fabulous, so baby like, and so amazing. So let's move along to row number 5, and I'll stop ogling my work right now. So back again, we have row number 5, and it says to chain 3. So let's do that. 1, 2, and 3. Double crochet into the first stitch, just like before. It's the one right underneath that one. That's not common for double crochet. Usually it's always the one over, but as per these instructions you always do that. And it says to double crochet into the next 20. So I'm not going to make you go through 20. So just double crochet by themselves for the next 20, and then the next one after that is 2 into the same one, and do that all the way around. The reason why you're doing that is that this has to grow on an equal basis, on an equal level, and it's just part of the characteristic of it. So double crochet 20 in a row, and then 2 into the next, and then we'll meet back up into the end of the line. You will notice that you're only repeating this for 4 times. You will not be able to go right to the end. So it says double crochet to the final 60, next 16, and 2 double crochet into the end. So just be aware of that at the end, and we'll cover that as well. So move along, and I'll meet you at the end of the line. So we're coming up all the way onto the end of the row number 5, and I happen to be on 16. So I know that it says on the last stitch that we have is that there's going to be 2 double crochets. So it just happens to be when you're going for the 1 to 20, that when you go to over here and you're going and ready to do another 20, you'll end up stopping on 16 if you have the right count. So the final stitch is going to have 2 double crochets in it, and remember that final stitch is actually part of that chain, and we can never forget that. So we're going to move up to, we're going to turn our work and move up to row number 6 next. Row number 6 is the final of doing the top of the yoke, and then we're going to move down to shaping the armholes if you're doing the 6-month size. This is how quick this pattern can be. So let's move along to row number 6 next. Moving along to row number 6, it says to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Double crochet into the first stitch. So again, just like what you've been doing, right down into the beginning, just like this. And you will notice that when you put these together, this will be on a slight angle because that's what it's asking us to do. So this edge is not looking flat, and that's the whole point of this. Maybe I should have said that before, but I didn't. So let's begin. It says to double crochet into the next 20. I'm not going to make sure you go through that again, but this is just like the last row, 1 to 20 by itself, and then the next one will be 2 double crochets into the next. Continue that all the way around, and then on the very last one there's going to be 2 double crochet into the last 2 stitches. So it's very much like we've been doing from the rows all the way to number 4, and this is very similar. So carry on. So 1 to 20 by himself, and the next one is double, and then 1 to 20 all the way through. Meet you at the end, and we'll start doing the arm holes next. So coming up onto the end of row number 6, and it says to double crochet in the last 2 stitches, and when we've gotten this far there's only 2 stitches left, as you can see there, and this, see the doubles in there, so that just works out to be perfect. So in the next part of this tutorial I'm going to show you how to do the armholes next, and I need to show you something right off the bat in just a moment, because this may surprise you, because you're thinking to yourself you're doing it wrong, and in actual fact you're doing it right. Before I do that though, you will notice that you have a big horseshoe shape here, and this looks super big, but just trust me on this, folks, is that it's really going to come down to being a baby size in just a little moment. So let's move along, and I'm going to pull the other project up and show you some tips. So in the next part of the project we are going to be doing the shaping of the armholes, and essentially, do you see how the yoke comes down just like so, and then the yoke goes over top of the armholes like so, and then comes back down the other side. So in the pattern it says that the sides will not be even, and what this means is that, see this here, it's not in the center. So if you're thinking to yourself when you're doing this next part, you're thinking, whoa, one side is just way off, it's intentionally done like that so that you do have an overlap and it looks just like that. So don't be too hard on yourself. The hard part really is over, because the next part of the stitch work is all really easy from this point going forward. So let's move along. We're gonna do shape the armholes next, and we're still working on the 6-month size, as we can see. And also, by the way, before I let you go, this extra stitching, that's all the trim work afterwards, so we're gonna worry about that after as well. So we're now moving down to shape the armholes, round number 1, and round number 1 means that the outfit is now going to start going around. So the entire project right now, this whole top part here is just the open part of the back that is going to be button closed, and now the rest of this particular dress is going to be now going in complete rounds. So let's begin. It says to chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3. Like so. So let's go through this very slowly, and we'll go on there. So it says double crochet into the next, okay, 18. So we've been going down into the same stitch. I don't want you to do that anymore. I want you to officially do what it would normally do. So in the 6-month size, it's 18 stitches. So that was 1 and 2, 3, 17, 18. So now we've done the 18. So now it says to skip the next 22 stitches for the armhole DC into the next 32. So what you need to do, I'm just going to pull this out and I'm going to count. So I'm going to skip over, and I'm going to grab a stitch marker, in my case a piece of yarn, and what I'm going to do is that I'm going to count over, in my case 22. There is parentheses, so if you're doing different sizes, then pay attention to that. So I want to skip 22, so I'm just going to go along the line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and I'm just going to immediately go into the 23rd here and put the stitch marker in. It is so much easier to do this than it is to worry about this and count it and just try not to lose your space. So I'm gonna just put it in nice and loosely. So I'm gonna take this out afterward, and now I'm gonna slip this back in. So it says to skip 22, and then it says double crochet into the next 37. So it doesn't matter if you bend it like this or you bend it forward. It doesn't matter, because you can play with that afterward. So what I'm going to do is, the blue was the very next stitch, so that's where I'm going to start. So it says to do in the next 37, okay, and that's for the 6-month size. So this is 1. So see, this just completed the first armhole. So that was hard, right? So that's so that was 1, and what I want you to do is, you don't need to see me do 37, so I want you to continue to move down this line 37 double crochets in a row, and we'll meet you back up in the second, and we'll do the other side as well. So now that I've just finished my 37, what we have here is that we're gonna skip over the next 22 stitches and DC in the last 14. So again, I'm just gonna pull this out just so it's easier, and then begin to count over 22. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and I'm gonna put a stitch marker into the 23rd. And again, it's just more for my convenience so that I can see where it is and move along quicker. It really is seriously easier just to do this than it is to fumble around. So now that is where my next stitch is, and what we have here is that it says to in the last 14. So we're going to double crochet into the last 14, and then essentially when we started this, we started off with 18 going in before we did the armhole. This one is 14, therefore this is the shorter side when it comes to the end. So now I just want to simply just either bend it forward or bend it back, doesn't matter, just completely jump over and double crochet it into where you have the stitch marker. See how I'm kind of fumbling like that? If you're having to count and not marking it at the same time, it becomes a real chore. So we're going to double crochet into the remaining stitches that are left. There should be technically 14 when you go. So do that to the end of the line, and we're not completely done this yet because this is the starting of the circle of the dress going around and around. When you get to the end, all you just need to do is grab the other side of where you started, and we are just going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3, and this then begins the formation of going all the way around. So this is the top of the yoke right now. I'm just going to lightly put it down, and essentially you have your now sleeve holes, And so now we're starting to ready to do the dress part. And remember what I said in the very beginning is that the stitches will get shorter, and what happens is that you're going to be skipping all of these stitches going around the sleeves and just focusing on the middle. And as promised, remember what I said as well, is that this will appear the one side is bigger than the other, and that's as per the instructions. So this is working out just perfectly. So let's move along to the next row, which is going down to the skirt. So in the skirt instructions, and this is for all sizes, we're going to go all the way around and finish back up here at the back. So it says to chain 4. So we're just going to immediately chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that counts as a double crochet, chain 1 here and throughout, and that means for this pattern. It says double crochet into the first stitch, and it says a beginning V stitch is made. So we're going to write down right where we've been doing all along, and this is a V stitch. Okay, so essentially the stitches are doing this and being joined at the top, and that's the whole secret to this dress. It says skip the next double crochet and V stitch into the next. So we skip the next one and V stitch. So the V stitch, if you're looking at the special instructions, it says that a V stitch is double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So by skipping one, going into the next one, we're going to double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And then essentially says skip the next stitch, double crochet, and repeat. So we're going to skip the next one in the line and V stitch into the next. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and it says to do this all the way around. So essentially this is really easy. This is when it becomes really fun and really quick and really easy. So skip the next stitch, V stitch into the next, go all the way around, and you will not believe how fast you'll be able to get this dress done as well. So continue that, and I'll meet you back up in just a moment. I'm just working my way across, and I noticed that I have my armholes, so I never talked about that. So you're not going to go up the sleeves with this. This is the dress. So unless you want a dress coming off the arms of the baby, then I would avoid that. So you want to pretend that these are just operating stitches, and they are operating stitches. I guess you don't need to pretend, but don't go over the sleeve. Just leave that sleeve alone. The sleeve is almost done. We just got to trim it off afterward. And so we just jump right over. No big deal. Skip one, go to the next, and then go all the way around. So go all the way around now, and as long as you understand the sleeves, you are good to go. And this is the only row you have to worry about it, because it now starts to fill in as well. So carry on. I'll meet you back at the end as promised. So we're coming all the way back around, and all we just need to do is slip stitch. If you end up with a stitch that's left over or it doesn't belong, this is where you'd want to fake it, because this is the establishing row for the remainder of this dress. And so essentially I want to show you now round number 3. Now round number 3 has 2 parts to it. You see an entire paragraph of instructions, and in actual fact what we're doing right now is going to be repeated only for a certain distance of length, and then it changes. So let's begin round number 3, and essentially what we have is slip stitch into the first chain space. So we're just in the chain space, it's in between the V. Okay, so it's right in the center. See how the 2 are coming up? It's not in between 2 V's, it's in between the center of 1 V. So we just go through and pull through, and that puts us smack dab right into the center, which is where we need to be. It says to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we double crochet into the same thing, into the same chain area, and that's your new V. So next what we're going to just do is go all the way around again, and we're just looking for the center of the V's. How hard is that, right? So center the V's, and just continue to go all the way around with the V stitch into the center. So the V stitches are following each other as they go all the way around. So let me just bear with me in just a second. I'll be right back. I want to explain something to you, because I'm going to let you do the remainder of this section on your own, because it's that easy, and I want to explain something further. When looking at this dress pattern, you want to follow the instructions, and what we're doing is the V shape, and if you really look carefully, you'll see that there's a change at some point in here, and that's because it's fanning out to be even more wider. And so what's happening is that maybe, hopefully you can see this on camera, is that at a certain point in what we're doing now is that you're only going to do it so that the skirt measures 3 inches down. So right where we're just started right now is that we want to do it so it goes down 3 inches. Then once we get to the 3 inches mark, we're going to change our stitching just slightly, and you will notice that the V stitches here look bigger than what they do up here, right? See how tight they look? And then it just opens up to be even more. So this is what we're doing right at this point. So when you're pulling up your project right now, I want you for the 6-inch size to continue to go all the way around, slip stitch back into the center like you have been, and grab your tape measure just like so, and just leave it out and just keep measuring until you get to the point that it's 3 inches down from the very point of the yoke area. So you can actually see it right here where the V stitches start. That's right. So that's where we're going to start our 3 inches. So go 3 inches from this point, just following exactly what we did, and then I'll meet you back up after I get it done here, and I'll show you how to finish off and do the next part of the skirt in order to make it bigger. So again, V stitch just right into the center of the current V stitches, and just kind of carry on like that. So we're back again, and I now have my 3 inches here, and if you can always change the length of your dress, but I would not do it here. I would wait until you get to this next section that I'm about to show you. So what we've been doing is just a V stitch, and now we're going to do a large V stitch. So I've just slip stitched, and now I'm going to start this row off like it was before, and we're just going to slip it, and now we're going to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then double crochet into the same space down. This is a large V that we're doing. So the difference is, let's start, is that we're going to V into the next center, and then chain 2, 1 and 2, and then V again in. Make a double crochet in. So then we go to the next one, just double crochet, chain 2, and coming back in. And what this does is it adds more space in between so that the dress will fan out, and it's just really quick and easy. So now when you're looking at the instructions, it says repeat the last round until the skirt measures 7 inches. So the 7 inches is right from the top of the yoke here going all the way down. So continue this particular step going all the way around and around and around until you get about 7 inches, and at the end you can make a decision whether you think the dress is either too small or too large for length, and you can always add on more before doing the final edging in the round number 1 and 2. So continue along, and I'll meet you back up in just a moment. We'll have this whole section complete. So welcome back, and I've now completed all the way down. Isn't this absolutely gorgeous? I love, totally Mikey approved here. And now we're ready for the bottom edge, and if you are not happy with the length, if you're trying it on a youngster, the edging is going to go about maybe 1.5 inches, and then that's it. So if you want to try it on with somebody that you know and you're thinking to yourself, well, it's a little bit too short, then you can just continue the same revolutions going all the way around. But this looks amazing. The yarn is just fabulous. So let's begin. We're going to start with the edging and round number 1 first. The edging is actually a lot of fun. I've been excited about getting to it. So let's do that next. So to begin, what you're looking at here is 2 edging areas. So we have round number 1 and round number 2. So essentially what we're doing is that in this round number 1 is that we're creating what it looks like to be a V shape. Okay, so we have half double crochet, 2 double crochet, we have some spacing, then 2 double crochet, and then half, and then we come around for the second row and finish it off to do these beautiful, they almost look like gorgeous leaves. For my tutorial purposes, I'm gonna keep it using the same color because I really love this color. So let's begin. We're gonna slip stitch into the first chain space. So we've joined it, we're just gonna slip stitch like you have been to start, and we're gonna chain 2. 1 and 2. Now this counts as half double crochet. So if this helps you, then great. So we're gonna do 2 double crochets. Terrible teacher am I? So we have 2 double crochets here, and then chain 1. Okay, 2 double crochet again, and the chaining of 2 counted as half double crochet, and so what's happening on one side has to happen on the other, so we do a half double crochet to finish this off, just like so. So you cannot see the gapping space yet. You won't be able to see that until the next round. So now what we need to do is we need to repeat this all the way around inside each one of these V's. So the next one we just skip to it. We're gonna half double crochet first. Okay, we're going to double crochet twice. We are going to chain 1 and then finish the other side. So pretend it's a mirror, so we're gonna do 2 double crochet again. Okay, and then the last one is going to be a half double. So continue to do that same thing in each one of the V stitches all the way around. I'll meet you back up in just a moment where we will carry on and we'll start on the next round, and you'll love this particular project at this point. I really loved the edging when I did it before, so I'm doing it again. So I'll talk to you in just a moment. So we're still working on the edging round number 1, and we're just finishing off, and we're just going to join it to the top of the chain 2 to bring it to a full conclusion. So now we're going to move on. It says skip the next 2 double crochets. Okay, so these 2 obviously, and what we're going to be doing is that it says skip the next 2 double crochet, 4 double crochets, a picot, 3 double crochets into the next chain space. Okay, so what we're going to be doing here is that we're going to be doing 4 double crochets, and I want to explain something to you, but I'm not going to do it quite yet because you're going to think to yourself, well, that's just not right. So we're going to do 4. Okay, so now it's going to do a picot. So let's do a picot, and how you do that is chain 3. So 1, 1, 2, and 3, and coming back down into the middle, just like there. See how I'm going in between the stitches? Just like so. Grab the yarn, pull through, and this makes it a little point. And then it says to 3 double crochets into the chain space. And you're thinking to yourself, well, at least I was when I was doing it, is that, wow, geez, you crocheted 4 double crochets, then a picot, and then 3. And you're thinking to yourself, well, that doesn't make the picot in the center. So this is what I want to explain to you here. You have 1, 2, and 3. The 4th here, the picot is sitting on the 4th, and then 1, 2, 3. So in actual fact, what you're seeing here is a total of 7 stitches combined. Okay, and the picot is right in the middle one of the 7, so you got 6 or 3 and 3, and the ones in the middle. So let's begin the next section over here. So we're just going to reach over, okay, and we are going to double crochet ourselves 4 times into the middle of the next section. So now when I was showing you the original, you saw the gapping space, so this is going to cause it. So we do 4 double crochets again. And we're going to be doing this in every one of them that we're going around, and this will conclude the bottom edge of your dress. So we have our 4. Let's do a picot again. So 1, 2, and 3. We come down. See how I'm coming into the front? Right there. And pulling through and through. And then double crochet back in again to the middle section for 3 more times. So continue to do that all the way around. I'm glad I didn't change the yarn color on this, by the way. I think it's going to look fabulous. So I'll do that off camera. I'll meet you back up, finalize that, and we just got a little bit of trim work, and the picot idea is all in the side arms as well as the neck area as well as the back. So we're now just coming all the way back around, and we just have to slip stitch to the very beginning on where we started, just like so. And we just need to fasten off, and what I would strongly recommend is just take your scissors and leave an extra long tail, and then at the end we're just going to use a darning needle to hide those in and sew it in professionally so it doesn't pop out, especially when a child is wearing it. So this is what we have so far. This dress is turning out to be absolutely amazing. You have a nice frill at the bottom. Love, love, love. So now what we have to do is that we have to go and fine-tune the rest of this. So we have to fine-tune the armholes, the neck, the back area, just like so, and it's really easy. So with the back area, we just come around the top, so we just go around the top like so and come back down and fasten off, and then do the same here. So I'm gonna only show one section here on how to do that because it's the same, the edging is the same, and it goes really quick. So if you're thinking to yourself, whoa, when is this project gonna be done? You are almost done. You just gotta finalize off a little bit at this point. So we're now ready to begin the edging, and this is the same across the board. So please do what I'm about to show you for the neck and the both of the armholes. So in the armholes, or in the neck, sorry, you're gonna start down at the bottom. It just makes sense. Go up and go all the way back around and come back down. And then what we're doing is that we're just gonna start off. So it says to start off anywhere within the armhole. I'm not creating a slip knot, sorry, and I'm coming in and I'm just fastening on. So we'll just do this like that. So it says to single crochet every stitch around. So we're just gonna single crochet. So go into and single crochet where you've joined, just to finalize that off, and just go in around. So 1, 2, and 3. So every time you get 3 done, I want you to do a picot. So 1, 2, and 3, and then coming in down in there. Picots are no big deal. So I find some people like really regret really don't like them, but they're really a nice finalizing touch. So we're gonna single crochet again 3 more times. So just a row, 3 more times, and a picot. So 1, 2, and 3, coming down in, and like so, and then 1, 2, 3. So continue to do this all the way around. When you get all the way around, you're just gonna fasten off and then just restart the next section on the other armhole or the neck, whatever you want to do next. So 1, 2, and 3, and picot. When we come back, I'll have all of that done and finalize today's video off. And now it is time for the final touches, and on the back you're gonna apply a button, and you will notice that there's a big side and a small side. So you're gonna apply it to the big side because the small side is gonna overlap at the top, making the back even. So when you're applying buttons, I know people are gonna email me about using buttons in baby projects. Make sure that they're securely fastened, and make sure you're using extra caution. When you're using these buttons, they have to be able to fit between the stitches that you're using. So you have to determine the size before you apply it to your project. So that's how they'll work, and you can see that the top is finished just right. So now let's do the final trim work, and these are all the little ends that you have. And what we're gonna do is that we're gonna use a darning needle, and I'm only gonna show one here, and we're just gonna apply those ends everywhere we had loose ends and just put it in. And this technique is really handy because especially when it's on a child, you don't want these loose ends coming out. So essentially we have to hide these stitches in. So we're just gonna go into our project along on the inside of the stitches. We're gonna go in one direction, just like so. We're gonna come back, and when we go back in the other direction, we want to go in somewhere different so that the strings kind of overlap each other. These get stuck, and then we go a third time. So by going back back and forth 3 times, it locks it permanently into position. And once you get that done, you can safely trim that, and you'll never have to worry about those falling out, just like so. So go along in your entire project, and you are gonna have an amazing little baby's dress by the time you're done. So here we have our complete dress. Isn't that beautiful? And even on the other side we have the overlap, and this is great. So in this particular project we did use James C. Brett Baby Marble, and you can find this in more independent retailers across North America. So until next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd, and until next time, stay tuned for more free patterns and ideas. We'll see ya.